Howdy, Space Rangers, Captain Phoenix here. Today I'm coming to you with a different video, a different kind of video that I've not really done this before, so I'm just kind of working with the best I have. Wait, in fact, the footage you see here comes from another YouTuber, Cocomelon Variety Hour, and the video this is based on is actually really good. I'm gonna leave a link to the video down in the comments below. Go check him out. Great YouTuber and a great commentator, especially on this kind of video. So without further ado, let's jump into today's video. Today's video is gonna be sort of a fanfic slash pitch. It's a pitch for something that does not exist nor will ever exist. However, I thought I would get it out there. This video, I'm titling it, "What if I wrote the sequel trilogy? Could I fix it?" So today I'm going to be talking about the changes I would make to the Star Wars sequel trilogy, what I would change, what I would keep, and how I would basically progress the story. And I'm going to be using a lot of elements from the pitch meetings Disney had, like from all their concept art and concept storylines. I'm gonna be using a lot of that to base my ideas on and basically come up with my own version of the sequel trilogy as to how I think the sequel trilogy would be, how it would work, and all that stuff. So while most of the ideas are mine, a lot of them do come from old Disney concepts and storylines, and I will be talking about them in this video. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. What would I change about the sequel trilogy? So these are the changes I'll make. Before we begin as well, I thought I would mention I thought I should mention that I will not be making changes to The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens was the first movie in this trilogy, and it's kind of laid the groundwork for the rest of the trilogy should be and like what it would build off of. So because Force Awakens acted more like the TV show pilot, I would say, I'm not going to be making any changes to it, as the other two movies are meant to build on what the Force Awakens was about. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, let's start with The Last Jedi, the second movie. What changes would I make to this movie? Honestly, I would not make a lot of changes. The most I would do is focus on two things, especially two kind of subplots on that movie. The first thing I would do would be fix Luke's arc. So, what would I do about Luke Skywalker's character arc in The Last Jedi? Well, for one, I would keep it mostly the same.
You what?
I would still have him be this jaded old man who thinks the Jedi should end, but by the end of the movie realizes that being a Jedi, and for him personally, being a hero, is more important than his personal feelings, as it's supposed to build on the galaxy. So that's what I do. Keep Luke's arc mostly intact, though I would change things within the arc. One, I would have Anakin visit him and give him the message instead of Yoda. Having Yoda visit Luke in The Last Jedi was very good, and I do think that the original trilogy fans obviously got a kick out of that. They're like, "Oh my god, it's Yoda, that's so sick, amazing, I love this guy." However, I do think from a story perspective, it doesn't work that well. I do appreciate the fact that Yoda does come to tell Luke, "Hey Luke, I'm here to tell you that you should accept failure. Failure is okay and it's not bad." However, I feel like that message would be given way better if it was Anakin, and especially Hayden Christensen playing Anakin, who came to visit Luke for two reasons. One, Anakin, it would give a nice father-son moment, a bonding moment between Luke and Anakin, because let's face it, we've never seen Luke talk to Ghost Anakin, and we know Ghost Anakin is a thing because of the original trilogy, and so I personally feel it would be so cool if we got Ghost Anakin talking to Luke. It would give them a nice father-son bonding moment. Two is, I think it would also push the message of failure, because let's face it, Anakin as a character has failed way more than Yoda has. He's faced a lot of lost battles in the Clone Wars. He lost Ahsoka, his apprentice. He lost to Obi-Wan in the Battle of the Heroes. And hell, he fell to the dark side. He's a failed Jedi by definition. So I feel like Anakin giving Luke the message and the moral of failure would work way better for the story it's trying to tell, rather than Yoda, who's just basically there for nostalgia bait, let's be honest. Another thing I would change about Luke's arc is that I would have him physically be there on Crate. So, while I do think the Force vision he pulled was cool, I do think him being on Crate is a lot better as, as it would add more weight to the scene. Now, originally, I was kind of defending the people who are saying, no, it was fine for Luke to be there, to not be there at all. It was actually cooler for him to be a Force vision. And don't get me wrong, I do like the fact that he was a Force vision, and it's something I'm gonna employ in a future storyline. However, him being on Crate would make the story mean much more, and it would have the final moments he has with all these characters mean so much more. Again, it's not that I'm against him being a forced vision, like him being on crate being fake. It's more that I feel like his impact on being crate would be a lot more cooler. And it would also help with him giving the resistance time to escape. I don't think he should die. Definitely, I do think he would die in the sequel trilogy. Luke should die, and he should have a Jedi's death, and that's what he did in The Last Jedi. Luke had a Jedi's death. However, I feel like the whole Jedi's death should be moved to Episode 9. So the Force Vision and Luke dying should be moved to Episode 9. However, I do stand firm in that he should not have been in the throne room. I do not think Luke needs to have a confrontation with Snoke in Episode 8. It just would feel a bit bloated. And I would have him join Rey and the Resistance. So again, I wouldn't have him down crate. I would have him escape with Rey and the rest of the Resistance. Somehow we'd work around that. Those would be my changes to Luke's arc. Now, what would I change? What else would I change from the movie? Well, let's focus on Poe's character arc. So basically, Poe in The Last Jedi had to learn to be more responsible and leader-like. And this also built up his arc in Episode 9, where he finally becomes general of the Resistance after Leia dies. So what did I change about his arc? 1. Remove Holdo. Holdo in this version does not exist. Having Holdo here just kind of brings the story to a halt, and based on The Last Jedi, everyone hates her. I didn't even like Holdo. So having Holdo here, no, that's gone. Another thing I would change is I would have Poe go on a side quest with Finn and Rose and a handful of soldiers. So when Poe is learning to be more responsible and leader-like, I think him leading a squad, like a squad of Resistance troopers or something like that, would be very good for him to build his character on. So I think him, Finn, Rose, and a couple other people, like a handful of other soldiers, would work, especially when they're going on another mission similar to that of Canto Bight. But that's another thing. I'd remove Canto Bight from the story. I would instead replace it with the plot of Resistance Reborn. So for those who don't know, there was a book Disney made called Resistance Reborn, which is supposed to tell the events that happened in between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker as to how the Resistance got more members on its team. And I feel like this plot would work well in The Last Jedi. So instead of Finn and Rose going to Canto Bight, we'd have Finn, Poe, and Rose go on a mission to this planet to find more Resistance members. I think it was a list of possible Resistance members who are willing to join the Resistance. And through doing that, we could get to see how Poe works as a leader, and instead of the whole dumb Canto Bight thing of just of a casino planet, in this case it would be a lot better, as in the book, they do go to like some rich party planet, so we could still have Rose give her message of, oh my gosh, the rich are profiting off the war, but it would also be relevant to a plot rather than just something she shoves into the movie for no reason. So I would replace it with the plot of Resistance Reborn. Another thing I would add is have Poe be a leader by coordinating his team on the mission. So seeing as this is a tricky mission, as they have to get a list of a First Order sympathizer who's actually a Resistance spy, I do think the mission would be very high stakes, and the stakes are, if this fails, not only do they lose the list, but everyone dies, and everyone on the list will be hunted down. So I do think this would be really cool if Poe has to now coordinate his team into getting that list, sort of like Mission Impossible style. So take any heist movie like Mission Impossible or the Ocean's movies and then put it in Star Wars. That's what I think this subplot would be instead of the dumb stuff we got on Canto Bight. Another thing I would do is I would reveal Finn to be Force sensitive. So this is not tied to Poe's story, this is more tied to like what I would change about the movie. So I would reveal Finn to be Force sensitive and still lose to Captain Phasma. So I do think Finn would have another encounter with Captain Phasma in this movie. However, instead of killing her like in the actual movie, he would lose to her instead. So Captain Phasma would beat Finn. However, he would use the Force to help him and the Resistance escape. So let's say the Resistance is stuck in a pickle, sort of like how they were stuck on Crate. Finn would use the Force to like lift rocks or like lift a couple ships or metal, and everyone would be able to escape. Sort of like how Rey lifted the rocks at the cave's exit and everyone escaped that way. I think giving Rey's scene to Finn would definitely help his character grow and again make him better, and it would be a cool way of having his Force powers grow. I think him realizing he's Force sensitive at first and then his Force powers kicking in at the moment everyone needs them to would be really cool. And lastly, I would have a soldier, probably Rose, sacrifice herself for the cause. So the reason I'm saying Rose is because I don't know any other Resistance members, because like we have very few main characters we're working with, but Rose is going to be kind of a placeholder for now. So I'd probably have Rose sacrifice herself for the cause after seeing Poe prove himself as a leader and knowing that the Resistance has a hope for survival if she does this. So basically, I'm going to give the Holdo light speed ram scene to Rose or some other character, probably Akbar. So the resistance will use we will still keep the lightspeed ramming scene in there. It just won't be Holdo who does it. I'm thinking it could be some other resistance member, either Akbar or Rose or someone like that. So Akbar, I said he would probably still die in the same way, but he would hold the leader position while Poe is off doing his own thing. So while Poe, Finn, and Rose go off doing their own thing to like get the list of resistance members, we would have Akbar remain behind and fill in the leader role. Akbar would now be the Holdo of the movie, and as I said, he would probably still die either by being ejected off into space, or he would do the light speed ram when the resistance members come back, and he would force the soul and then when he would die, he would force the soldier to make the sacrifice of doing the lightspeed ram. So the lightspeed ram would either be done by Rose or Akbar, depending on how I think it would go. As for that, those are all my changes I would make with The Last Jedi. The plot would mostly still be the same. It's just I would change a couple things to either improve some scenes or to make them flow better. Now, let's move on to